Williams in the movie. His name in it's I don't understand.
Lil Rel Howery.
Lil Rel Howery sounds much more like a character name than Rod Williams.
That's true.
But apparently his name in the movie is Rod Williams. So
maybe that's his real name in real life.
So Rod, as a TSA agent, he's doing his own investigating. He goes over to the local police, and that was a pretty good scene where he explains everything and how he ends it off saying, it's like, I think they are being taken in and brainwashed and used as sex slaves or something.
Sex slaves and shit. Yeah. And just because every time he had a good explanation, he was all professional about then like sex slaves and shit. And it gets all riled up on it. And the best part is like the authorities he's explaining to, they're minorities. They're black. And like
that's why it worked out. Okay.
Exactly.
Like you could see that not everybody is just gonna be on board with this because it sounds crazy to anybody.
It does.
And then she's like, "Okay, hold on a moment," and then it cuts right away to two more police officers in the room.
Right.
It was pretty good.
Yeah,
and
I did like it.
It kept getting better because Rod at one point has the plan that I'm sure we all thought, it's like, record that conversation. Like, you need some proof, record it.
What if that led to where he was actually, where he had to find them actually? I wonder.
Well, I'm sure he could figure out where he was going, but right. Rose, she was wise to this and started, incriminating him by being like, "Oh, like, yeah, I know you just want to get with me now."
Yeah.
Now that he's so it's like, "Oh, if she puts that seed in to this conversation, then it's going to look like he's the one who framed him, or he's the one who like killed him or kidnapped him or something." So
yeah, imagine that.
It's pretty smart.
She is, and like I like how what she says and how she says it and the way we see she says it. She's like so wide-eyed and very stern. Like, "Oh no, he didn't make it home."
Yeah, like, it sounded right. It sounded okay as a recording, but seeing her say it, there's no emotion.
It's amazing. It was great, and
even her delivery later on when she's like looking for the keys, and it's very believable. She's like, "I don't know where the keys." And to me, because we find out that she's in on it the whole time.
Oh, for sure.
And she pulls her, like, "You mean these keys? I couldn't just give them to you." So stone faced. Yeah. And like it was a sick feeling in my stomach when that happened, because it's like, man, you think you know someone. But I actually thought for a moment when she was fumbling for the keys, she's really looking for the keys. She really doesn't know what's going on. Right. I thought maybe the mother was hypnotizing her to go out, have her be predisposed to being really attracted to black guys, bring black guys home with her. She does her thing, takes the bodies, brainwashes her, like removes that memory from her, sends her back out to get more, and she's just a pawn in this.
You thought of all this because you wanted to believe she was innocent.
I wanted to believe she was. I wanted to believe she was innocent, and I really believed her acting.
Yeah, that's great.
But it turns out now she was just really good at acting and fooling Chris.
You know what I thought? When I thought I could call them out on the whole cheap scare things, and we figured it out as we're talking about it now. Yeah. One thing I thought about, like right after the film, as something that was cheap, was the fact the way he found the photos.
Okay.
Because like the door was open, like they're packing things up, and he sees the door open, and he decides to go check it out. Okay, I mean, most normal people don't go look at open doors that are slightly open. Maybe because he was packing, he probably went to check it out anyway, but he ends up finding it. And you think somebody who's intelligent enough to lure him in here and like have him, like really like have him find it. It's almost you think it would be on purpose, but he ends up finding it.
Yeah.
I went with our other friend Matt. He pointed out that the reason he found him is because you saw when she was having that phone call with Mr. Williams. You saw the pictures framed in the background of her and those guys.
Okay.
So she was basically preparing to take him out to frame, and so she was a bit clumsy and left that door open. The light was closed. It's not like she wanted him to find it, but it was slightly open. It didn't close for incidentally, and obviously, what leads to his escape is incidental as well. So that's what we believe for in these films. And
what led to his escape wasn't incidental.
Maybe I didn't. Am I using that word in the wrong context?
Like he had to think of, he put some.
That doesn't make it incidental. Doesn't make it like incidental. It's outside of their control, but he took control in a way. No, incidental in their perspective. From
their perspective. Yeah, there's nothing they could have done to prevent that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
For him to think of putting the cotton in his ears Which at first I thought, how did he get it in his ears? And I'm like, oh wait, he tried to get it with his mouth before. He had enough. Yeah, he could have done that.
Well, he was scratching at the couch.
Yeah, constantly. I just thought for some reason I thought he couldn't reach his wrist, and I figured, yeah, he did. Yeah. He was biting it exactly.
Yeah. So he's able. And is there anything to say?
I can't find the flaw in this, Matthew. This is ridiculous. It's just like Split. I couldn't find anything.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say this is a flaw at all. I want to bring it up because I feel like no one's talking about it. But
okay,
did they really have the black character in this film pick cotton?
Oh, why?
They did do it. Like they did it so people could talk about it. And I
okay,
for sure. Like
I didn't think of it. No, I didn't think of it.
Made note, like did it with that in mind. It's like, yeah, he's picking cotton and he's using it to save his life.
Yeah,
putting it in his ears. I thought he should have kept it in his ears because
me too. Yeah, when he confronts her again, and she needed that cup and that spoon.
Yeah, and it's like I wonder, is he just cursed for the rest of his life anytime anybody is mixing a teacup?
That's true. No, it has to be
he's gonna fall back into this sunken place.
It has to be. I think it would be one of those things he'd jump at, but nobody could do it exactly the way she did it to hypnotize him. I think.
Yeah, I hope not.
And just someone's just doing it, and like, oh, sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah,
like, and he's just like he can't move.
Yeah.
No, but he has to heat on commands, though. I think too, right?
It looks like that sound just pushes him into the sunken place, but it doesn't seem permanent. That's why
he gets back up.
Unless the metamorphosis is conducted, he's not going to stay in that sunken place for too long.
That's true. Yeah. That was yeah. I wonder if that worked out, if that was well thought out. And I don't know if Jordan, when he wrote this, was like, okay, it has to be a couch with cotton in it, or if just like, oh, how is he going to escape? Oh, maybe we'll have these couches, and oh, perfect, it's cotton in it. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that's hard to determine.
Maybe. Did people cheer in the theater when he put it in his ear? When he takes it out of his ear, everybody in the theater cheered. And I spoke to some other people, and it's like, yeah, as soon as he takes it out of his ear,
I remember the reactions
erupted.
I see. The thing is, as a frequent Fantasia goer, mm-hmm. when you're watching movies when you're watching the films in the theater, and obviously the crowd in Fantasia is very vocal.
Yeah,
you gotta learn how to tune that out because it may not always work in your favor. Because to some people it bothers them when people do it. Some people it doesn't. Whereas I'll go along with it when it's warranted, when I feel it's warranted as well. But I learned how to tune out people's reactions, especially in horror films too. Because I feel like every time there's a jump, it's because everybody else is jumping and not you.
Okay,
you could have easily watched this at home and not jump, but just be like, okay, that was pretty good. But everybody else made you jump, and
yeah,
that's
and
what
volume has a big factor.
Oh, totally.
Too. But I normally listen to the volume as loud as in a theater when you're at home.
Oh yeah, yes, surround sound.
Yeah,
headphones,
super loud though. Okay, headphones,
sure.
But
really surround sound. Like if you know what, it's just imagine having it behind you and everything too. That works just as well.
Yeah, not as well as the theater. Theater, the decibels are not going to be as loud as at home because
sure,
it wouldn't be comfortable.
No, it's true. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
the room's not big enough. I guess I don't know. Whatever.
I just feel like we could get it at some point.
Sure.
Okay.
Going back to the box of pictures, though,
mm-hmm.
You explained it pretty well, but even if it was just more convenient for her to find, I feel like I don't even mind because that scene was terrifying. As she's going through it, just the realization and seeing all these pictures, and it was neat that it was terrifying and not comedic because I can picture Key and Peele having this in one of their sketches where you're just looking at this and people would be laughing like this is a funny moment.
Yeah, because
where you're going through because it's so ridiculous, but it was actually terrifying, and to be that person is like, I got to get out of this house.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like all I have to do is get out that front door, but it's just bad timing.
Yeah, it's too late because he could have done it sooner, but he couldn't, and something kept him in. And then the funny thing about that a revelation such as that would not be taken seriously in so many other films. When I think about, do you remember the film Shutter with Sarah Michelle Gellar? No. Sorry, my apologies. No,
Shutter. No, Shutter with that other girl.
No, it's still her. But okay, I'm not talking about the Shutter. The correct film I'm trying to refer to is the Grudge.
Oh, the Grudge. Okay.
The Grudge. Yeah, the Pulse is another girl, but Sarah Michelle Gellar is also in Shutter.
Okay.
But I'm referring to the Grudge.
Shutter Island with Leonardo DiCaprio, correct?
Now you're trying to
a cure for wellness, which we never finished.
Girl Interrupted. Okay. That would be a good there's a good board game that could refer to similarities such as that. But
no.
Back on what I was saying, The Grudge.
Yeah.
Remember that revelation where did you watch that film?
Oh, a long time ago.
Do you remember the revelation? It was the same thing. She was trying to solve some sort of mystery of like, why this woman is still trying to make its presence. Why is this grudge thing attacking people or whatever it is? Because she was in love with this one professor who killed himself in the beginning. And as she looks for the evidence, she sees a bunch of pictures, like really like not candid pictures, like portrait pictures of, hey, excuse me, sir, could you please take a picture of me and my wife next to this building?
Oh, yeah.
And you see the character who's the grudge, this Japanese woman in the background, like looking at them because she was stalking him the whole time.
Yeah.
And in every single picture, you see her in it, and you're like, it's so ridiculous. She's just photobombing all these pictures, and
I do remember that, and it's
almost comical. Imagine they being in an enclosed space. You wouldn't be surprised if you see her, because that's because a scary movie would probably stretch that even further and be like, imagine being in an enclosed space and they would not realize, or outside a window of a skyscraper and you'd see her there or something somehow, like cleaning windows or something. So there's a comedic element when it's done. It wasn't in The Grudge here. It wasn't meant to be. But you can't help but laugh because it was so ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Like sometimes I'll watch movies like that now and I will be like, really? This is in the actual movie and not the parody?
Yeah.
It's like, I remember certain things as being from Scary Movie, but then I watch the actual movie they're parodying and it's like, no, it's actually in this movie.
Yeah. Man, a long time ago, when I was watching Scary Movie 1, and obviously it was an entire parody of Scream, and I unfortunately have watched Scary Movie before Scream.
Okay.
And the whole...
You can never watch Scream after that.
Oh, I still love Scream.
Not the same way, though.
Okay, yeah, but you want to know why? Because the one scene that Rose McGowan tries to escape going through the doggy door.
Yeah.
And I'm watching Scary Movie first, and unfortunately, it's this obese woman who goes through it, who unrealistically cannot fit through this thing.
Yeah.
And he just puts the garage door up, and then in a catastrophic result, the whole thing comes down, and she dies anyway. And she wasn't even an important character.
Yeah.
So I see that first, and then I'm watching Scream, and I'm enjoying it, and I start laughing when Rose McGowan dies, and I'm like, are you serious? This is why is that in Scary Movie? Like, they both had it.
Yep, it happened.
And just Rose McGowan dies that way. I'm like, that's not possible. It's the only thing I could call on Scream. Just be like, how does someone just die like that? Most garages have sensors.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was in the 90s, though. Who knows what they had? Didn't even remember it was Rose McGowan. So
it was Rose McGowan. Was it 90s? Like, was it millennial? Can't remember.
No, it's got to be like 99.
I thought it was millennial. Okay, cool.
So what else do you want to talk about in this film? I mean, there was a whole procedure scene where he's strapped down to the chair. He's watching these old tapes about the grandfather explaining what's going on, not to be afraid because this is just a evolution. This is your metamorphosis. You're
right.
new. But I really liked how they showed the cutting into Stephen Root's head, because you didn't really see the gore. You saw it in the reflection.
Yeah,
and you saw it through the like opaque plexiglass that was covering the head.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier, right? Because you have that division, you could easily isolate what you need to do to. And you love special effects. You work on it too sometimes, and you must appreciate the fact that you have an opportunity to basically make it look like it is what it is, but we obviously know that it's not.
Yeah,
and you appreciate the fact that you're able to literally you can literally scalp somebody.
Yeah, and then you're showing just what you need to make it believable, and it. Are you okay with the idea that this is what the procedure takes? It's literally it looked like it's literally just moving a brain, part of a brain, and putting it into somebody else's brain.
You mean like deconnecting, disconnecting from the stem and then reconnected it back to the stem?
It's weird because they incorporated two elements. They incorporated like a scientific, like a medical procedure,
right,
and hypnosis,
right,
and they're incorporating both of these things. There's two different languages, and they're combining them for one outcome.
Right.
So it's
the hypnosis has to keep him hypnotized throughout, consistently, right? That's why she's there for that. And as opposed to, well, they don't care what happens on the other side because they only need one brain functioning, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they just need one part of the brain to function. So that body, that white body, just becomes ditched. It doesn't matter. It's no longer a value, which is ironic because usually you would see the opposite in films.
Well, that's why this film wasn't racist. Because black
exactly.
bodies are even better than the white bodies. Now, what do they do with all the white bodies?
I don't know. Organ donors? Maybe not in Stephen Root's character's case. Maybe he has a good liver.
Looked like everything in his body was failing.
Maybe he had a good liver. I don't know.
I don't know. But,
maybe definitely a big gut, that's for sure.
Yeah. So we didn't really talk too much about the father, but the father...
Hilarious.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I just keep thinking. I don't know why I relate him to Bryan Cranston, even though he has nothing to do with Bryan Cranston, like at all.
He's got like a scraggly face, a lot of craters in there.
But